question is, get ready because this is a deep one.
Mm-hmm. That's what you said.
Should we respect Raquel, or should we hate her? And the reason I asked this question is because look at the evidence in question so far, right? She killed D-Wiz. She ordered him to be killed. You know, a young boy, 15 or whatever, right? She then proceeded to show up at the mother's house, the mourning mother, you know, prayed with the mother, with her son, who was D-Wiz's best friend and is also hurt by this, right? She did this like she did nothing wrong at all, like a psychopath or something, like a sociopath, right? She dropped dime on the drug deal, which we saw, and she also microwaved a dog in the first episode. So, you know, with all of this evidence, with her rap sheet and everything we know about her, should we respect Raquel, or are we meant to hate her? So, Dana, what is it? Like, what do you think about that?
I'm muted. Okay, I think that we are not... see, I can respect Raquel because she is someone who is willing to do what is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't hate her. I think that, you know, she did everything that she has done that was necessary in order to protect herself, protect the family, protect the business. And yes, it's unfortunate that D-Wiz is murdered and that he is a kid. But children are involved in this situation. And therefore, they know of the consequences. And while it's unfortunate, that's just, you know, it is what it is. In terms of the dog, that was kind of just a power play. Because, like, oh, you think you're going to slight me and think you're better than me. Roasted the dog. You know. That was terrible, but hilarious at the same time. So I don't view her as a villain. I view her as someone who is not going to be disrespected. And as a woman in the industry, you're going to have to be considered harder than the other people, even though she's literally reacting and doing the same things as a man would do.
Right. Okay, and how do you feel about it, Rich?
Yeah, I think these characters are supposed to be complex in nature. Yes, she's doing what she has to do to survive as also a boss. She is the one that's in charge of this entire operation. So she's going to do stuff that certain people don't like. I know, go back to what you mentioned earlier about certain characters on The Wire. Yeah, we probably like those characters, but they were not necessarily positive in their actions and what they did to others. Even if you want to talk about another example, Tony Soprano on The Sopranos, this is another character that a lot of people dislike, but yet you still are rooting for the character to, if something happens to the character, say somebody is close to him gets killed, you want to see him get revenge. I recall him killing his own brother-in-law on the show. So stuff like that, I feel like the character is meant to be complex. Do I dislike the character, though? I don't dislike the character. I appreciate and respect the hustle, but I do know that at some point, you know, anytime you do something bad, it comes back to you. And I will be curious to see exactly what that is, because we know that she is not anywhere to be found in the current modern day Power series. So I would assume something happened to the character. It's a question of, was Unique the one that ultimately, you know, was successful in taking her out, or is it someone within the family, such as Kanan or the brothers? I feel if it is Kanan, well, yeah, that would explain a lot of why the character is the way that he is, and is you know, has no remorse whatsoever. But again, it's too early for us to know for sure. They just want to give you tidbits as to what these people were like, and so that when stuff happens later, you have a bigger explanation as to why it led to that. But yeah, I think she's meant to be complex in nature. I definitely don't dislike the character. I like that she's presenting herself in the way she has to. Although I did not like the fact that she ordered that hit on D-Wiz, but again, that had to happen because they made it very clear when someone gets killed, the street code is that there needs to be another person that gets killed to take his place. What we didn't see in this episode was how that paid off, because this whole episode was then focused on, well, now we need to get intel on Unique's next move to stop him. So that's why I'm very curious to see what happens in the next episode, because I still expect people to come after Kanan and the family. It just didn't happen in this episode because, as you both said, this is a setup to what's happening next. But yeah, I don't dislike the character. I question some of the things that they do, obviously, but if they do something bad, it always comes back on you, no matter what. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, great points from both of you. And, I agree, for the most part, like these are complex characters. These characters live in a certain environment where, these things are sort of like the norm. There's a lot of backstabbing, a lot of betrayal. That's what it was like, living in that neighborhood in that era, right? And I'm also from the cloth of, because I read a lot of books, and I see the discussions people make about books when they say, oh, I don't like none of these characters because they did this, and this, like none of the characters are likable. I'm not from that cloth. Like for me personally, I feel like the characters don't have to be likable for me to enjoy the story. They just need to have depth. There needs to be, an understanding of why they are making the decisions they're making. And the darker the character, I think they're more interesting, but that might be, because I don't know, like maybe I'm a dark person. I don't know, but like we all have a darker side, so that's just something I kind of enjoy. Like I like dark, complex characters like that. I like examining them and trying to get into their head and understanding what they do. So I like Raquel as a character, but to play devil's advocate, she has done some pretty wicked things, and just to deep dive into this a little bit more and keep playing that devil's advocate. I want to say that she had D-Wiz killed, right, to protect Kanan, so that she could make a deal and say, okay, look, Buck got killed, so here's a body for a body, so let's resolve this, and let's keep Kanan out of this, right? So that was the whole reason she did that. But then on the flip side of that, she is now doing Unique dirty by she set up this thing in this episode to have that deal hit by Howard and everything. So how does she think that is going to go once people find out what happened there? Like, doesn't she think that it's going to be cause and effect? Like if Unique finds out what's going on, he's going to be like, you know what, let's go at them, let's go right back at them, like, and then Kanan is going to be once again at risk. So what's up, Rich?
I just was going to say, that's a very good question. It's as if the character she is very confident in her abilities. She doesn't really care. She's going to do what she wants to do and not really worried about the consequences, because, we do know that when she spoke to Unique a couple episodes ago, he said that he called off the hit, but he was not responsible for what could happen with others who just still want to go after. So he could easily say, okay, now the hit is on Kanan once again. And I don't know if she really thought through any of that. I would assume she had, because the thing is that you did that. But I think the biggest issue is that at the end of this episode, like the fact that Unique saw Lulu and Marvin there, that's a bad look, because now it looks, maybe she could have thought, oh, well, the bust just happened. Maybe she would have made it so that he would think that it just happened. It just so happened that the police caught him and no one knows any information. But the fact that those two were there, that's going to come right back on her. So that's where it was going to backfire. And since you're also talking about Raquel, One other thing I did want to mention, because I don't know if you were going to go in this direction, the relationship with Symphony. Do y'all get the sense that obviously she likes to talk to him? We know he's very intelligent. He's always talking about architecture, buildings, and stuff like that. Do you see that she wants to gain this information from him because eventually they may have to get another spot in the future down the road to stash their supply or whatever? As they expand, they have to, get, another place to consider stashing whatever they have, because I don't know if the bodega is going to work out fully. I mean, as they grow more and more, if they continue to do business and business expands, they have to get another spot, I would think. So I'm thinking that she's sort of, obviously she likes the guy, likes to get physical with him, stuff like that. But I think the long-term focus, I don't think she's just sticking with this guy just because. There has to be some type of thing that she's thinking about how he could benefit what I'm doing without being fully involved in the actual drug stuff.
Yeah, she's definitely super calculated. So I do think she is she's doing something with this information that she's getting from him, and maybe she does like him also, and she looks for comfort. I don't think she's 100% using him. Like I don't think that. I think there's a little something, but I do think that she is calculative as well, and she's getting something out of something more out of this than what people think. So
really? I don't see that at all. I got the complete opposite. I got the fact that she was, she has physical needs, and that's what he is there for, and probably whatever information she can get out of him. I see her manipulating him in that sense, and I see him not knowing the full manipulation tactic. I mean, he just kind of made himself at home in that sense. But, he's, as the children would say, an F-boy.
Yeah, I mean, because of what he did, like sitting at the computer with his clothes off, I agree. Just for that.
That was a territorial move, grown man walking around naked at the computer. No, you have a kid.
Well, let me ask a question. Do y'all want to give him a little bit of slack? He tried to stop when the last episode, when she first engaged him. He was the one to say, "Hey, hold on, we don't need to do this right now." And then she takes off, just like in every other movie. The woman takes off the jacket. Oh, look at what she got on underneath. Hardly any clothes. And then there you go. Oh, now I have to, So that's why it felt like he tried to stop it, but no. She said, she initiated and said, no, it's happening right now.
I mean, he's trying to have a little bit of respect for the household, but, again, maybe it's a territorial thing that's like, you're not the man of the house situation. You don't rule over me.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I want to see Kanan rough him up in this season, just because of that. Like I want to see that.
You're both kids. What are they? Literally, 3 years apart? Maybe 10? Maybe 10.
Maybe
10. Maybe 10.
Yeah, because Kanan's
15.
Could be. Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, I think it's like 10.
It's close to 10. Close to 10, if not 10 on the dot. Yeah, because he's college.
Well, yeah, maybe less than. I don't know. It's weird. They're trying.
But yeah, anything else about Raquel you wanted to say for next question?
No, I just really respect what she's doing. I don't see her as some type of evil person yet.
The only thing I will say, the final thing I will say about Raquel is that, as you've already mentioned, Gary, she's been very cold and calculated. She's made a lot of moves. Only thing I will say is her moves are not done yet. So we'll see what she does next. But I am very curious. You brought up a very good point. Because of this whole thing with Unique, and the fact that he now knows that she had something to do with that corner thing, or at least he suspects. I'm very curious to see what her move is going to be now, because that's obviously unique. He can tell, hey, I know I canceled this hit on Kanan. Now it's back on 100%, and maybe I'll even double the bounty if you kill him and you kill the rest of them too. So I'm curious to see how she's going to react in the next episode, because you don't do that move without thinking about what could be the consequences that come after that. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I mean, Unique could play it in many ways, like, you know, because he physically saw Lulu and Marvin, he might decide to clap back at them first only, and like because he actually saw them there, so he probably suspects that they did something, right? So he might not go directly at Raquel or Kanan right away. He might go for the uncles, but then it can escalate from there, you know. So like if there's a back and forth situation, eventually he might be like, you know what, let's go at Kanan, you know, let's go for Raquel and Kanan. So yeah, it could be like an escalation type thing, but yeah, we'll wait and see. But I do want the listeners to chime in on that question. Like, what do you guys make of Raquel? You know, what do you think of her and the decisions that she's made so far in raising Kanan? Please let us know, because I want to hear more takes on that.